Hello everyone, welcome to my quick guide of the Phantom Muspah. This is a requested guide by somebody in the clan, so thank you Iron Eric for requesting the video. I'm by no means an expert at the boss, but I figured myself and also Eric, he said there's not a lot of decent guides that are good to a certain extent for this boss. I only killed 8 of them, so within this guide I will be including a gear setup and also have a few kills to show how I do it. Now, the way that I'm doing it, I'm still learning. I know there is specific tiles that are safe spots for special attacks, and that there are other ways of doing the boss more efficiently, but I don't give a shit about efficiency. It is just the way that I like doing it. So without any further ado, let's go get into the gear. Alright, now let's move on to the gear setup. Now, I just recently did a bank sale in order for me to get my twisted bow, so I am obviously going to use that. I'm using it with carols because, like I said, I don't really have the money to get anything else, and I just got enough money to get myself an archer ring, which means that I just got an upgrade. Woohoo! And with that being said, you can see what I'm using: Barrow's Close, Asian boots. You can also use other kind of boots. Snakeskin would probably work fine as well, but I got Asians for necks, and also the prayer bonus it allows me to get, so that's pretty damn decent. And then the armadillo helmet is just something that I had, which is actually quite nice to have. It's probably best in slot helm apart from Missouri, but I don't have Missouri anymore. So for this gear, I would probably recommend either a T-bow, because I am camping the T-bow, but you should be fine with anything as low as a rune crossbow, but we will talk into that. This is the gear that I'm using. You can upgrade, you can downgrade, whatever you have, whatever your possibilities are. This is just what I use, and it works just fine. Now, as for the inventory setup, it is going to be quite an unusual one. You need a Sapphire Bolts E. Those are mandatory, you need them. And with that being said, I'm using the rune crossbow for my bolts to shoot. So I have a rune crossbow and Sapphire Bolts E. Those are mandatory, you do need them. If you do not have a Sapphire Bolts, you should just get them. I'm using the regular ones. They have to be, well, they work fine for me. I don't need a Dragon Sapphire Bolt. It's not worth the money, even though you make a ton of money back. I don't want to spend that much money because, like I said, I recently sold my whole bank, and therefore I do not have that much possibilities to acquire the Dragon Bolts. Yeah, the Dragon Bolt variant of the Sapphire Bolts Enchanted. But these are mandatory. Make sure you get these, otherwise your kills will be quite terrible. The rune crossbow, obviously you can upgrade that. The best crossbow would probably be the Zarite crossbow, but I wouldn't do anything other than a rune crossbow. A blowpipe doesn't have any use at Muspah because the defense of the melee form is so strong. You just don't need it. So rune crossbow, armadillo crossbow, or Zarite crossbow would be best in slot. Obviously dragon bolts, the Dragon Bolt variant would be best in slot, but it's not worth the money in my opinion. And then it's quite easy. 2 range pots, 2 stamina potions, and 2 prayer potions. This is the potion setup that I'm using. In addition to that, I like to use 5 karambwans as a panic food if I mess up my prayer switches, which I will get into. I usually do this 5x setup, and then the rest I'm filling up with sharks. Now I need 2 inventory spaces because I am using a teleport to house, and to get there we are using the icy basalts. I usually also get about 5 of those. So this is the inventory setup that I use when I'm doing my trips to the Phantom Muspah. Now, before we get into how to get there, I just want to mention that you do need the quest Secrets of the North, which takes about 20 minutes. The Rune Knight plugin really is a life changer, and it makes it a lot more enjoyable to quest, but you do need Secrets of the North to get there. Well, you need it for the boss. So to actually get there, what you do is just you click your icy vessel and you will spawn near the herb patch, which is something I still need to do, but whatever, not for and now. Then we'll climb over it, we'll squeeze through, and we will find ourselves right at the dungeon where we are going to fight the Muspah. As you can see, also enter the cave. If you've done the quest, you know what this cave looks like, so you are quite common with the area. And then you take a right, and right here next to the Sergeant Raymond is where we can find the entrance of the boss. Now, before I enter, I kind of want to go over the phases, if you will, what the Phantom Muspah uses and what he does. So basically there's a 50% chance that the Phantom Muspah will spawn in either his ranged phase or his melee phase, and usually people are also saying that you should be on the ancient spellbook because you can freeze the Phantom Muspah in its melee phase, and that way you don't need to run around. But I don't want the hassle of changing to the magic attack styles and all that, so I don't want to use a magic switch. I am range camping. The T-bow does quite fine, but bear in mind, if you are not able to get a T-bow, or if you have any downgrades to the gear that we just discussed, make sure that you do bring a magic switch. That can definitely help. It will also be in the title of the guide that this is a ranged camping guide. So before we enter the dungeon, just know that it is a 50-50% either range phase or melee phase. Every 100 damage, the Phantom Muspah will change attack styles, so you know how much damage you have to deal before the Muspah changes forms, which is also helpful to know because that way you can adapt your switches to the required attack style that Muspah is doing or dealing. And last but not least, there are also some special phases that the Muspah has. It is not that difficult, but it can get quite tricky to learn, so I would probably just explain that on the go and talk a little bit through the kills. It will probably be a very long video, but I want to explain everything as clear as possible. But one little disclaimer though, I don't do this very efficiently. I only have 8 KC, so I myself know the basics about it. This is just my learning process, so you can kind of learn with me, I guess. Alright, with me rambling for that long, let's enter the crevice and see what we do. Now, you can pre-pot range and stamina, it doesn't really matter. If the Muspah is green, he will do his range phase. Now, what you just saw, he does a back-to-back, sick, good for the video, is a mage attack. What this does is hitting very hard, as you can see, and then it also makes you cursed, which means that you basically lose about 18 prayer points in 18 seconds. Now, we just dealt so much damage that he also switched forms to his melee form, and usually if you are, well, or if you don't have Bassin Slot, you would just stun the Muspah with your you would stun it with your Ice Barrage or Ice Burst or whatever you have, and then you can just chill. the small clouds you just saw is one of his special attacks that he also does. So that's a thing too. He's changed back to his melee form, and he did the same animation as his special magic attack, but this time you can see those are spikes following me. So if he does the magic animation within the melee phase rather, that means that he does a special attack. Now these last about 20 seconds and they can be very annoying because they keep following you, so you do need to kind of change places and keep moving, but it isn't as bad as the melee phase. Now, we are just chilling, hitting with the T-bow, and that's the reason why I do not take a magic switch, because the T-bow literally destroys this thing. Now he switched back to his melee phase, and as you can see, I just ran into the pillar. And one thing to note, if you move and you do it right, the Muspah can still hit you, but he'll hit a 0 every single time. So as you can just see, I moved and he hit a 0. And that's an easy way to like keep dodging damage. Now he's almost dead. He'll go to the center of the room, do a special attack, and then you need to stand behind these spikes. Then he does his shield. And this is basically where the Sapphire Bolts are coming in handy, because the special of the Sapphire Bolts hit through the special bar, if you will, through a special shield, and that's really why you need the bolts. But as you can see, I just did a ton of damage with my normal Sapphire Bolts, and I'm not even bothering using the dragons, even though the dragons might do a little more damage, and if I would have the opportunity to upgrade to Dragon Bolts in the future, I might, but other than that, it is just really, you don't deal as much damage anyway. But there we go, that's the phase done. He is in his range form, so make sure to protect range, but he will do the special attack every now and then as well, so make sure that you still watch out for that. There we go, 100 damage is dealt. He's still in his range form, nearly died there. So as I said, I'm also a learner still, but I'm doing quite alright, I guess. So that was the first kill we do get. Literally like a decent drop, basically. So if you were to reset, we can either go bank or we can enter and or like leave and re-enter. But let's quickly gear up for a second trip so you guys get the hang of it. Alright, so we are back. This way around, I changed my inventory setup quite a bit. I got one more prayer potion and I changed one stamina pot. Now, as we can see, it's a range phase again, so we'll just pot up and put on rigor, eagle eye or hawkeye, whatever your best prayer is, and then we deal 100 damage. That's the mage attack again. There we go. He switched to his melee form, and as you can see, you just saw that I got hit a special damage, the 6 again. What I think it is, it's just an extra hit to basically fuck me, if that makes sense. But this is the cloud form, and this is why I'm not that efficient, because there's this one tile somewhere in this room where you do not get hit, but I don't know the tile by heart, and I'm not gonna bother being that tryhard. I'm just going to try and not die here. Now he just did a special attack and confused me. That's his melee form. Now that 23 he just hit was because I didn't move enough. I think you need to move like 5 tiles before he can actually like negate the damage. So that's why this sometimes can be quite annoying. But as you can see, I do not really need the freeze on him, even though I'm fucking up this skill quite a bit, but I mean, it is what it is. Like I said, this is my 10th KC. I'm still a learner too, and I'm happy to be able to show these full kills for you guys so you have a general idea about what this boss looks like for somebody that doesn't have any experience whatsoever. Because I saw a guide about a guy that explained everything from tile to tile. It was a very hardcore guide, even though he did manage, well, he did say it was a hardcore guide. I mean, I'm not doing that. Even the juggling around the room is something that I still need to learn. But honestly, the way that I'm doing this boss right now, he will go to the center of the room quite soon, though. So there we go. That is the change to the center of the room. Make sure to stand behind some of the spikes and then just watch whatever attack style he uses. So now he's doing range, and by the looks of it, he will do some range attacks. Nothing much going on. There we go. That's the mage attack. Make sure to switch prayers again. We got a proc, which is good. Takes out 33 out of 75, which is decent. And then we'll just see how it goes. And there we go. That's the kill. Make sure to move some tiles. And I'm dead. Ooh. Anticipation. Very important. Oh, wow. That confused me. That was confusing me a ton, but whatever. We managed. And we got a ton of supplies, which is nice. But we're going to the bank. I will show you guys one more kill, and honestly with that, I hope that you have a general understanding of what the boss looks like, the way the boss works, and then hopefully we can get some money. So to get there, make sure to jump over that little shortcut, then use this right here. Dismiss any beekeepers because you do not want these. They're just being very annoying. Whatever. I don't even think he's gonna follow me. He probably will be, actually. Yeah, there we go. He is gone. Enter the cave straight to the right and enter the dungeon. Now, I kind of hope that he's going to spawn in melee form so I can also show you that. And he will be spawning in his range form again. So green is range, brown is melee. This time we did do a decent protection against his magic attack. So we just watch whatever he does. Might repot. There we go. 100 damage is stealth. And then basically the Sarah juggling or whatever you want to. The kiting is what it did. It okay? We had a massive lag spike there. I'm sorry for that, but we are a Gucci. Don't even know what happened there. It might have trapped me. I have no idea, but whatever. We managed to be safe, and then he's gonna switch right here again. Every time he switches, there will be a spike sticking out. So make sure to move at least one tile. And then right now he does his tryhard special attack again, where you basically just click him once and try to, well, initially the best thing would be avoid these, I'm lagging on this world. But yeah, initially it would be best to obviously avoid any spikes. Now, if you're cursed, your prayer icon does have this blue toned icon. So yeah, keep an eye on that. You will drop prayer point rapidly. So he just did his magic animation. That's why I prayed against magic, but he actually does the spike special attack that follows you. So make sure you can move a few tiles in advance and then reposition basically, and then attack the Muspah again keep an eye on his attacks because he will do his magic orb from time to time. Now he's switching back to his melee form, so we make sure to juggle. He will hit a 24. I was actually hoping for a 0 there. Don't really know why he didn't hit a 0, but it is whatever. I mean, I'm not perfect, like I said. This guide is... I'm definitely no expert in Muspah. I'm just doing the boss because it makes me a ton of money. Because it's new content, it gives me something to grind, and now I should be behind these. There we go, that was barely on time. And then he does his... This boss is really testing me sometimes, though. But it is whatever, we're good. Also for this phase, I don't use Rigor to save some prayer points, because Rigor drains prayer like a mad lad. So hopefully we deal quite decent damage to get this phase over with as soon as possible. Now, I know you can also pray Smite, I believe. So if you're very advanced, you can Smite flick. So how you basically do that is you pray. Give me a sec. So every time you hit, you use Smite and then flick that with... But I'm not gonna bother. I mean... These Sapphire bolts are alright. And sometimes I can do multiple kill trips, sometimes only one kill trips. I don't really bother. The most important thing is that you survive and you will improve whenever you are doing more Muspah. So gear upgrades will come. You'll get to get the hang of this a lot more. And there we go. We got a beautiful double plate legs. So that's 400k just like that. Alright, so for those 3 kills, you can see that the loot tab says 300k, but that is not correct. Because, right... I mean, it is insane money, as you can see. This loot tab alone is 600k, but I also have about 2k soul runes. I honestly bought about 200 of those, so... Literally 2,000 soul runes would be what I got. So if I keep the 2,000 soul runes, it is 650k plus another 400. So we basically made another million just doing those kills. It is sick. It is very, very, very sick. I like Muspah, and hopefully you like, or you will like Muspah too. So thank you so much for watching. With that being said, I'm going to do a lot more Muspah right now, adapting, learning, improving my strategies, improving the way I do my switches, and with switches I just mean like my movement patterns and all that. So that was the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, please make sure to give me a subscription to the YouTube channel. I also stream sometimes on Twitch, which is just twitch.tv/Stoater, so it'd be very nice if you could drop me a follow to get notified whenever I'm streaming. With that being said, Eric, I truly hope this video made you learn something. Definitely the kills and maybe some tips and tricks, I don't know. But with this, hopefully you would have enough information to get to know Muspah to improve. And thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys later.